When the sun sets and the twilight settles, we're left with only darkness and whatever lurks within it. Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Maria Segura, and you're listening to Seattle Public Radio at 1 in the morning. Now, continuing from our previous episode, Elder Sign, starring Jasmine Jiang as Hazel Blair and Anthony Mendoza as Jason Reed, featuring narration from David Zybert. And now, a recap of Elder Sign's last episode.
Last time, on Elder Sign, Hazel was investigating a breaking and entering on one of Seattle's most prolific elites, Veronica Blethen. Finding strange clues at the house, all of which pointing to something sinister, Hazel traveled to the hospital to interview Mrs. Blethen. After a chilling encounter with the dementia-ridden Mrs. Blethen, Hazel learned that a man who claimed to be Mrs. Blethen's son was actually an imposter. Now, the continuation of Elder Sign's Prelude-Darkness in the Home.
Hazel briskly walked towards the doctor's office, room 214, a medical file under her left arm. Hazel's mind was racing, her thoughts darting and dashing around as she tried clarifying every question she came up with. Who was the man that walked with her? Why did he want to see Mrs. Blethen if he wasn't her son? But most importantly, what was he trying to gain by lying to her? Hazel had told the doctor to stay with Mrs. Blethen as Hazel investigated the now mystery man. She considered the thought of just calling Jason, as he suggested, but rejected the notion. Even now, she still didn't want to be derided by Davis and the others. She at least still had some thread of pride left. You're probably asking yourself, my son, if Hazel hated Davis for all that he did to her, for all that he was going to do to her. Don't think of it as a silly or stupid question, as I asked her myself as she told me the stories under the moonlight, a glass of liquor in my hand. The answer, dear boy, is no. She never hated nor would hate any of her previous colleagues, including Davis. In fact, she admired him. Davis was a good sergeant. Hazel knew that to be true. He was, to be honest, an even better detective. But it was his ego and pride that were the issue. When Hazel was on the force, he couldn't do much but tell her when she was wrong. Back then it was harsh, and Hazel, who had an ego as well, didn't take kindly to criticism, especially Davis's criticism. But that was the past, and in Hazel's mind, one move that Davis disapproved of, even if she knew it was the right one, and she could end up costing herself the ability to consult with the police. In her eyes, keeping Davis out of the matter was critical and vital. In hindsight, she should have avoided him altogether. Hazel's eyes fixated on the numbers of the room, 214. At this moment, she was about to open the door and find out who the strange man was, no matter what. Hazel opened the door to the office, noticing that Timothy was sitting on a padded chair in front of a desk. The room was modest, big enough for maybe 3 people. The wall to Timothy's left was covered with framed diplomas and certificates. The floor was covered with the usual hard office carpet, and the desk had all manners of trinkets from traveling. Timothy twisted in the chair to view Hazel as she entered the room.
Oh, hello again. I thought you were maybe the doctor. I've been waiting here to talk about maybe taking my mother to Portland.
Yeah, well, she's just finishing up with your mother. She'll be here any minute. I'll keep you company while you wait.
All right. Do you think she'll be long?
No, I don't think so. Just sit tight and we'll get the answers we need. So, Timothy, how was the drive up here?
Well, that's a little abrupt. Why do you ask?
It's so rainy outside. Is it the same in Portland right now?
Oh, well, yeah, the rain was pretty bad on the highway up here. Almost slid into another car, it was so bad. But other than that, no problems at all. I don't really mind driving in the rain since I've lived in Seattle most of my life. You know, rain never bothered me much.
I get it. My parents lived in Anchorage for a few years before they moved here. It got really wet up there too during the summer. So what were you and your mom going to talk about? Just catching up?
Yeah, I just haven't seen her in a while. I was hoping I could know more about the house. I haven't been there in years, and I heard they remodeled it a few years back.
Timothy looked away from Hazel, focusing on the wall to his left with all the framed diplomas.
So, did you talk to her? My mother, that is.
Yeah, a little bit.
What about?
Why does that matter?
I just, want to make sure she's fine. If I have to, I'll take her to Portland with me. The paper will understand if she needs to take a little leave of absence, even if it's for a few months.
The doctor said she'd be feeling better in a few days. It's just the shock taking its toll. She'll pull through.
Hazel opened the folder she had carried with her from Mrs. Blethen's room. Veronica Carter Blethen, it read.
So, hey Timothy, I have to ask. What's her middle name?
What?
Your mother's middle name. Do you know it?
What kind of accusation is that?
It'd just be strange if her son didn't know his mother's middle name. I know my mom's, it's Christina. Look, just tell me her middle name and we'll be done with it. You do know it, don't you?
Of course I do. What kind of son would I be if I didn't? I don't know what you're implying, lady, but I don't feel comfortable with you demanding my mother's name. Acting as if I didn't know it, as if I didn't know her.
Well, then what is it? What's her middle name?
Timothy leaned back in the chair, uncrossing his legs. He took his gaze once again away from her question to look at the many small trinkets on the doctor's desk. Timothy, keeping his gaze on the desk, bit his lower lip softly. Timothy began slowly raising his right hand to the ends of his shirt, lifting it up slowly to reveal the black steel of a pistol, neatly tucked between his waistband and pants.
Don't think that's going to be relevant anymore, do you?
A small, fiendish smile formed upon Timothy's face when he turned to look at Hazel. Startled, she pressed her back against the wall behind her, slowly letting out a breath when she saw the gun. Timothy, or whatever the man's name truly was, let go of the shirt and pulled out the gun. He stood up, gun pointed at Hazel's chest, and took a step towards the wall behind him.
You just couldn't keep your pretty face out of this, could you?
Well, you know what they say about blondes. They just like to have more fun. And what's more fun than having a gun pointed at them at 3 a.m?
Cute. There's supposed to be cops here instead, apparently. 2 of them?
Jason and Davis. So, what, you were waiting for them then?
And the lady. And I suppose the doctor, too. Once he heard Blethen was here, he sent me to take care of it.
Seems a little stupid, pulling a gun on a private investigator. Even more stupid to pull a gun on 2 cops.
If you had a gun, you would have used it when you figured me out. You've got nothing on you other than that stupid file.
What are you gonna do? Shoot me and leave me here? I'm working with the cops. You think they'll take having me dead lightly?
He didn't pay me to be clean about this. He's paying me because I'm efficient. I don't care about shooting you and leaving you here. The only people who know what I look like are you and that doctor. And if I have no problem killing you, then I certainly have no problem killing that bitch.
Good to know you'll have no regrets killing me. And you say you're efficient, so does that mean you're alone? That you were the only one this guy sent?
Don't play this game with me, lady. I'm the one with the gun in my hand, and you're not, so stop asking stupid questions.
All right, I'll ask a smart question. Who is it that hired you?
What kind of question is that? Did you not just hear what I said, or are you just stupid?
Well, firstly, it's common courtesy to inform the person you're going to kill of the master plan. I don't want to be stuck in a state of suspense for the rest of eternity now, do I?
God, do you ever shut up?
All I'm asking is why kill an old woman? It seems kind of pointless, especially if she's senile.
Doesn't matter who she is. All I know is Oz paid a lot to kill her. End of story. Her and anyone interested in what happened to her. And that includes you.
Yeah, but still, an old woman?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! You stupid bitch!
Timothy kicked the chair he once sat in out of his way, his eyes slightly bulging from his skull in anger. The gun was now pointed at Hazel's head, and the situation was deteriorating quicker than Hazel expected. Sweat began to slowly accumulate above her forehead, beads working down her temple. She watched as his finger tightened on the trigger, bringing it back slowly.
I'll tell him that you begged. Mr. Small will love that.
Timothy gave a barbarous smile before clenching down on the trigger with force. Eyes closed, Hazel awaited the bullet to penetrate her flesh and skull and end the pain she was carrying every day.
Hello?
The voice of Dr. Kalashnikov came from the other side of the wooden door to the hall. Timothy, enraged at Hazel's tormenting, turned to face the door, his muscles flinging into action and pulling down the gun's trigger. The bullet flew from the barrel, spiraling through the air and digging into the wood of the door. Adrenaline pumped through Hazel's veins, and before she could think, pushed herself from the wall, her hands outstretched toward the chair. With Timothy distracted, Hazel flew into action. She grabbed the arm of the chair that was kicked onto the floor and raised it up to her chest. All in a flash, Hazel threw the chair at Timothy, who was just then turning back to fire at Hazel. The chair collided with his torso and face, the wooden legs of the chair breaking and splintering on impact. Timothy was thrown back, hitting the wall behind him, his head bashing into one of the many framed certificates, glass fracturing and shattering upon impact. He pulled himself away from the crushed glass of the diploma, which was covered in splotches of crimson blood. Timothy then dropped toward the desk, his legs failing him and his free hand reaching out for support to break the fall. Timothy was now lying on the ground. His free hand reached to the back of his head and pawed at the bleeding flesh. His fingers grazed over knife-like pieces of broken glass, each embedded deep into the back of his skull. Hazel saw he was dazed and made her attempt to flee, reaching for the door. However, that only caught his attention. With a disoriented and sluggish look, Timothy brought the gun up, pointing it at Hazel once more, hoping for a kill shot. Hazel gritted her teeth and closed her eyes before rushing toward him, bringing up her leg. With a swift and solid kick to the chin and jaw, Timothy collapsed on the floor, unconscious, carpet collecting the blood that oozed from his broken flesh. Hazel stood there for several moments, staring at the gun in his hand. What were only moments felt more like an eon to her, the adrenaline still siphoning through her every capillary, labored breaths escaping Hazel quickly. She half expected the doctor to barge in, breaking Hazel's perturbing sense of serenity. When the doctor did not, however, Hazel's frozen body took action upon itself. Out of nowhere, as if her legs controlled her more than her own mind, Hazel turned to the door, quickly opening it and rushing out into the hall. The doctor was to the side of the door, but Hazel only gave a quick glance to her before turning in the opposite direction, running quickly away from the scene.
Excuse me, Miss Blair!
Hazel heard the doctor call to her, but the sound was waning more and more as she ran further and further away.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
You're lying in bed. Shadows dance across your room as the occasional car passes by your window. For some reason, you're awake. In the maddening silence, you stare up at the bland ceiling, hoping that your eyes will flutter and shut. Hours pass. Still, you lie awake, your body crying for sleep that your mind refuses to allow. A knock! Your heart pounds in your chest as you slide off your bed, your bare feet pressing against the cold floor. You look out onto the dark hallway that leads to your front door. Another knock. With each step you take, your breaths become more and more shallow. You arrive at the door, turning the knob slowly, revealing the knock's owner. Standing on your porch is a man, his body covered by a large black duster. His pale face is partially hidden by the coat that extends up to the tip of his nose. A black vintage hat dons his skull, the brim lowered down to cover his dark eyes. His hands are covered with a pair of thick leather gloves. Your eyes then grace the item that he holds. A cardboard box. He carries a package.
The gloved hands arise, and your eyes descend to see a name marked with permanent pen upon the brown of the box. It's your name. Confused, you take the package from the man's gloved grasp and close the door behind you. You step away and into the living room, turning to look behind. The man now stands in your living room window, just outside, waiting for you to open the package. You enter your kitchen, placing the box upon your counter. Reluctantly, you open the box, peeling the tape back and pulling apart the cardboard. Your mind numbs when you see the contents. Inside is a piece of parchment that contains drawings upon it. Strange, alien, aberrant. You shake with fear. Then, you see the card placed delicately inside. Zorano. You then realize this is the art you ordered from Zorano on Etsy. You remove the uniquely crafted page from the box's confines, looking in horrific awe at the drawn pages. They depict some lost, forgotten tome. Symbols stand out, rising from the page and imprinting on your feeble mind. Your mind fills with information. A name, a place, a website, Zorano's site, houseofthenecromancer.blogspot.com, all one word. Your mind fills with information on his shop, etsy.com/shop/Zorano. You now feel at ease. Your mind darkens as you stare at the page. You collapse, the shadows creeping towards you. Zorano on Etsy. Embrace the void.
And now, back to the show.
Hazel burst through the metal door to the parking garage, rushing through it. Passing cars on her left and right with great agility, she rushed to her car, pulling out the keys in her pocket with trembling hands, attempting to get the key into the lock. Trembling, she slipped into the car, closing and locking the door, eyes fixated at the steering wheel. It was silent for a few moments, but then her ears picked up a noise. Crying. Tears falling from Hazel's eyes without her mind even recognizing it. Her weeps were heavy as tears streamed down her cheeks and fell from her chin. However, as the tears dripped from her face, her sniveling sobs slowly became laughter. Hysterically so. Adrenaline still pumping ceaselessly through her body, Hazel laughed for being alive, for cheating death, but most of all, for being right.
Oh my god. I did it. I fucking did it. I can't believe it. Someone actually wants Mrs. Blethen killed. It wasn't a failed robbery, it was a failed assassination. Or, God, maybe it was a robbery? And then Mrs. Blethen saw the intruder and she was rushed away and it became an assassination plot? Either way, someone wants Veronica Blethen and everyone involved with her dead. Jason, oh shit, Jason will want to know about this. He'll fucking thank me after I tell him this. We need to get Blethen out of there. We need to interrogate that guy. We need to... I'm getting ahead of myself. Shit, okay, one thing at a time. I'll call Jason and we can figure it out from there. Won't be needing these heels anymore. God, I can't fucking believe this. I stopped a hitman's assassination plot. I fucking knew it. I knew there was more. I fucking knew it.
Hazel pulled from the spot, her laugh lessening as she began to calm herself. She stopped in the middle of reversing, closing her eyes as the adrenaline high quickly fell. Then, through her almost muted tranquility, Hazel's ears caught a sound which broke through. Sound of squealing tires. Her eyes jutted open when she heard the roaring engine.
Holy shit! What happened? hell hit me?
Hazel turned to look at the car that hit her. It was an immense BMW, black with tinted windows that she could not see through.
Shit, fucking shit, is it? It has to be. Of course he wouldn't be alone. It's another fucking hitman. God, my fucking head. I need to get out of here. Where's the